People always say that it's important to have a positive mental attitude. Although sometimes that sounds a little corny, I've discovered over the past few years that it really does work. I carry a list with me of rules that I've developed over the past few years to help me deal with life and the things that it throws at me. The nice thing about having this kind of a list is that you've thought about it and you've kind of told yourself in advance how you're going to behave, so that when a situation does come up, you've already decided how you're going to handle it. You just have to remember what it was you told yourself you were going to do. It's like having a roadmap or a guidebook. As I've collected my rules for living, as I call them, I've discovered a common thing among most of them has something to do with courage. The courage to see what's right, to do what's right, to say what's right, and to speak up when something is wrong. Also the courage to admit when you've made a mistake and do something about it. It's also helpful to have a framework that guides that self-talk that goes on inside your brain. Helps you set this frame of mind that you want to attack your day with. The difference between I don't want to sound foolish, so I'm not going to say anything, and I have a good idea, I think we should talk about it, are very, very important. Rule number 1 is simple. Embrace the suck. It's a military term that means there are things that are going to happen that you have no control over. Deal with it, do your job, continue on forward no matter what it is. If you can't fix it, don't worry about it. Just keep going. This is my personal life motto. Number 2, be awesome. It's on the wall in my office. It's a simple statement, but it's not simple to do. There are a lot of times when I have to check myself and say, Christopher, you're not being very awesome right at the moment. Try to be an awesome husband, an awesome employee, and an awesome boss. Rule number 3 actually has 2 parts. The first part, never be cruel or cowardly. I kind of picked this up from a Doctor Who episode somewhere, and it goes back to my theme of courage. Cruelty and cowardice are both directly related to the lack of courage and personal fortitude. The second part of don't be cruel or cowardly is, if you ever are, because we all are at some point, make amends immediately. As soon as you realize that you've done something wrong, speak up and say, I'm sorry. Apologize and mean it. People can tell when you're truly not sorry. Rule number 4 is don't waste time. You don't have enough. That hourglass is on my desk. I use it to remind me to stay on track and stay on focus. The Latin saying, tempus fugit, time is fleeting, translates as time flies. But it doesn't always fly when you're having fun. Sometimes it just flies. Rule number 5 is laugh at everything, especially yourself. Take yourself too seriously. It goes back to those other rules. You'll be cowardly, you'll be afraid, you won't be able to change. We all make mistakes. The day you laugh at yourself is the day you understand that you're a grown-up. Rule number 6 is, if it bleeds, you can kill it. I don't mean this in the literal sense every time. We all have monsters, both figurative and literal. Whether your monster is an attacker or a problem you can't figure out at work, if you can find the weakness, if you can find the bleed, you can overcome it. Rule number 7 is, the answer to an unasked question is always no. It takes courage and wisdom to ask questions, even if they're hard questions, even if they're uncomfortable questions. But if you never ask, you'll never get the yes answer you're looking for. And that leads us into my next rule. Rule number 8, which is a 2-parter, do what's right, is the first part. Even young children have a strong sense of what is right and what is wrong. Most of us know what the right thing to do is. Sometimes it's easier to turn a blind eye. That's where courage comes back into the equation. The second part of that rule is not what is easy, or even if it hurts. There are times when you may be correct, you may be entitled, you may be doing things legally, but you may not be doing the right thing. You may not be doing the correct thing, the just thing, and that takes courage as well. Rule number 9 is don't let yesterday take up too much of today. We all have regrets. We've all made mistakes. It is perfectly fine to unpack and have a breakdown as long as you don't live there. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move on. Rule number 10 is if the universe closes a door, open it again. That's how doors work. People sometimes run into a closed door or a lost opportunity and can't figure out what to do next. Goes back to get up, move on, and keep on. My bonus rule that I haven't been able to slip into the original 10 yet because there's not a spot for it is be the one who points out what is going right and helps out with what is going wrong. Everybody can be that person that identifies the problems. The strong person is the person who identifies the solutions. I applied my rules when I was doing this presentation. I knew it was going to suck. I embraced the suck. I decided that I would just be awesome, which I've tried to do. I laughed at myself. I knew that if I worked at it hard enough, I could figure it out. I didn't worry about my performance from last week, which I was not happy with. I just did it. Like I said, it's taken me a few years to get these put in the order that I like them. I've got them memorized, but just in case, I really do carry around a copy in my wallet. Some of my friends even know because I've started to say them on a regular basis. And they know that when we have a problem, we go, right, embrace the suck. Dr. Brene Brown says courage is contagious. And I found that to be true in both my business and my personal life since I started really examining the way I think and the way I approach life. I hope some of the points that I brought out today are helpful to you. I appreciate your time. Thank you.